Episode 15. Guess who? I now believe that when God asked Abraham to leave his place of comfort and go to the land he was going to show him, Abraham's expectations were blown away. I could only imagine the fight he had to put up with his mortal self to trust God completely. Again, when God says it's time, it's actually time, and he will make sure you don't miss out on his blessings, especially if you diligently seek him. In my case, he had to send me to a detective field, made me witness a suicide, which made me run away, and landed me here. But when I sit to look deep, God started ordering my step to his will ever since my encounter with Laurel. Had I not met Laurel, gone out of my way to help her, believed in her, and trusted her, I wouldn't have gotten a job after running away from my previous job. I keep using the adage, running away, because I literally ran for my life. I wasn't wired for journalism. What made me read the course was what I don't know. Just maybe, it was also in God's plan to bring me to this point, right here in the showroom, seated face to face with the psalmist. I had forgotten about him for a couple of months ever since the incident with Indamini. I had focused my mind on getting away from my environment and tension with mom. I was too engulfed in my predicament that love had no expression anymore. I couldn't help but feel favored and thankful. A job which comes with stress for many landed in my palms with no stress. I got fully settled a month after running away from my previous job, and now here I was, seated with the man God told me about. When the host asked if I had ever been a host on live TV or plainly a journalist, I realized I had done both for NTA Sokoto. But back then, we were not differentiated. Random assignments are given, and well, the chief expects the best and nothing short. And so, we all find ourselves doing both. I will stick to being a presenter, sir. I told him. Anything that would take me back to the field was a no-go area. A red boundary hearted with danger signs all over.
Okay then, you'll be hosting our celebrity gist show. I notice you have a great sense of humor and we could make valuable use of it here. We have a visitor this week in the person of George Oliver.
I looked at him bewildered. Who is that? I soliloquized.
He is known as the psalmist. Make detailed inquiries about him and get set for an interview.
I froze in place. I can't believe I don't even know his name, yet I claimed I heard from God about him. What else did I know about him apart from what he shared on his social media platform? Nothing. I returned home that evening, devastated, anxious, and uncertain if I could pull this out. This is my first responsibility on this job. Why did it have to be with him? I searched Google for any information I could extract. Moments later, Albert sent me a complete portfolio on George Oliver. I came to find out that his name was Oliver, while his dad's name was George. I started forming an acronym for our names: Elove, Livian, or Elava. Ella, what are you doing? I questioned myself. I shook my head in disbelief. This is not you, I exclaimed. I tried to focus on the notes in front of me, but I couldn't help my mind from wandering off. I dropped the portfolio and picked up my Bible to see if it could do me any good. I intentionally opened Psalms 27, verse 4 in the New International Version NIV, which reads, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord." Dear God, I promise to wait correctly, and I'm glad our paths are about to cross. I can't thank you enough for this privilege. Meeting Him alone can work wonders already. I have no expectations now, just a heart full of thanksgiving. I whisper to heaven with a smiling face, God has miraculously continued to order my steps, and I have no fear. He has a place for me in His heart. Was I able to sleep? Yes, but only for 30 minutes. I woke up at 6 o'clock a.m. Searched my wardrobe for an hour for something to wear. I never realized how girly I was until this day. I picked my latest collection of clothes off for a look. There was nothing that excited me, and I found myself asking the Holy Spirit to help me pick what to wear. I laughed at how hilarious I was behaving. Eventually, I picked something out, rushed my breakfast, and left for work. I tried to hide my anxiety behind my legs. 10 minutes before the show, the psalmist walked into the showroom, led by our chief host, Mrs. Johnson Fela. At first encounter, I thought she was related to Fela Kuti, a renowned Nigerian musician in the 90s. I later found out that her husband was named Fela by his parents in reference to the then Fela Kuti. I was wearing a sea green lace with a touch of Ankara jumpsuit with a sling back glitters green footwear, a mild makeup, and a coily wig I recently purchased. I wore a decent perfume with an alluring fragrance that wasn't too strong. I know I was a bit overly dressed for an interview, but I was going on TV with my crush, literally. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the Johnson's show. I'll be your host this morning. I gave my best smile while extending my hands towards him. He shook it gracefully. I could hear my heart screaming already. "Gently, Ella," I whispered to myself. "Please have a seat, sir," I said while pointing towards the sofa on the set. A cup of coffee was soon brought in and placed on the desk before us. "I am Emanuela Wilson Gerimache." I didn't realize I had just given my third initial, which I never used. Right. I'll be moving at the speed of light at this level. "Ignore the last name," I hastily added. He smiled and nodded. I allowed him to settle in and took ample time to check him out while he sipped his tea and chewed his cookies. He had a perfectly oval-shaped face, a perfectly placed sideburns. His hair was black and full, neatly cut a high-top fade which fits his perfectly shaped head. He had black almond-shaped eyes, heart-shaped lips, and his brown skin glowed enough to be noticed. He was wearing an aquamarine-colored suit with a white long-sleeve shirt that had its first two buttons unbuttoned. I noticed his black monolith brushed leather loafers. I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride for wearing a complementary color of clothes he was putting on. When I noticed his eyes caught me staring at his shoes, I quickly dropped a compliment. "They look good on you, sir." He smiled, and for the first time since he arrived, I got to see his perfectly placed teeth and an allowing dimple on his cheek. "God, you created a being right here," I exclaimed within me.